When the market crashes, the goal isn't to panic, it's to buy good future winner companies at potential discounts that you'll never see again. Today, we're looking at 5 high potential names that have been absolutely punished the last couple weeks, misunderstood, and ignored. And that might become some of the biggest rebound plays when the market recovers. Let's jump right in. First stock on the list is Archer Aviation Inc., ticker symbol ACHR, which is currently trading at just above $8 a share at the time I'm recording this. And they have been absolutely obliterated after the market freaked out about its plan to purchase an airport and expand its urban air mobility infrastructure. Even though that is their entire goal, it is to create cheaper and safer air infrastructure. Traders have seen this as just spending, whereas long-term investors should be able to see this as scaling. And I think what matters in this crash is that Archer now controls more patents, more IP, and more infrastructure than any eVTOL partner. And this airstrip is located very closely to the 2028 Olympic Games, which is what the company will be focusing on as we come to these next couple of years. And it is a great area to be in with a lot of commercial traffic and investor traffic. As we've seen, they're very close to certification than most people think. A lot of companies are falling very behind, and this airport acquisition, it brings vertipoint access, real routes, and actual rollout capability, which no other stock on the market has. Of course, we've seen the cash burn is real, which is why they've had to dilute the shares recently. But the path to commercial flights is much clearer now, and we could see what their idea here is behind everything. So the price action we've seen, the stock got absolutely slammed, and it created one of the biggest discounts in the entire sector because, as we saw, it was a high volume and heavy volume flush, and it shows that I think the sellers are done, as we've seen this kind of formation right here on the chart. In the crashes, winners get thrown out with the losers. So Archer is the classic candidate for a violent bounce back on if once the fear cycle ends. And as we see, they have so many patents, that over 1,000 different patents, and is one of the strongest in the sector. And they already have a lot of testing being done and a lot of commercial rollout, which I think it's hard to ignore when you're at this stage of a company. So because the market is pricing in the bankruptcy risk when a company is actually accelerating, I think this is the perfect mismatch and an opportunity that a lot of people are missing on the market currently. Next stock on the list is Navitas Semiconductor, ticker symbol NVTS, and this is basically the volatility king. They're powering the AI build out, which takes more than GPUs. A lot of people focus on the GPUs, the NVIDIAs, the AMDs, but it also takes efficient power chips. And NVTS is one of the few pure plays that we have on the market right here. Their fundamentals are the GAN and SiC power chips, which are the backbone of next gen AI servers. As we can see, power demands of AI processors like these from NVIDIA necessitate a move from traditional silicon to more efficient wide band gap materials, such as the ones these are creating. Also, we've seen the data center demand is absolutely exploding. And with NVTS still being at a small cap area, there's a lot of huge upside if their chips become the standard for other companies and the more partnerships come in. They've also still have these big partnerships with big names like Nvidia to support its 800A AI data center architecture. It also strategic manufacturing partnership with PowerChip for high volume production. Their revenue is growing and the margins are improving. As we see, they have a strong backlog with over 450 million, which provides visibility into future revenue streams. The stock dropped really hard after earnings, not because growth is slowing, but because the company is still inside of scaling mode, and they are refocusing their focus on this big market that they have in front of them, the AI market, instead of focusing on small consumer electronics, small appliances, which obviously it's great to have as a company, but it's not going to make you a trillion-dollar business, unlike what these future things they're doing are. So I think NVTS is one headline away from becoming a mid cap and AI, like a household name in AI hardware. So this crash kind of has erased the hype we've seen, and that's what kind of you want to see, but for tech companies, especially as they're starting out. We in this shift, as I saw it said, to higher performance products is expected to improve margins, and in 2026 we see the technology being adopted. It could lead to significant future growth. growth. All right, so next on the stock list, we got AST Space Mobile's ticker symbol ASTS. This is probably the most controversial stock on the list, but it's probably my favorite and it's absolutely the most explosive one. So ASTS basically wants to create the world's first space-based broadband network that connects directly to phones. And if they pull this off, they don't just enter a market, they basically create it themselves and they redefine it completely. So this company is aiming to eliminate cellular dead zones by having large satellites act like cell towers in space, allowing smartphones in remote areas at sea or in flight to connect to their network automatically. So as we've seen, this is very big news as there's 5 billion people around the world that are unconnected, and there's a huge market for this, as well as the amount of partnerships that ASTS has covers almost 4 billion different people across the world. As we've seen, the catalyst coming is the earnings next week. On Monday, the earnings will come out, and we will hopefully see more cadence on the satellites. We'll see possibly new partnerships. And this is where I think personally that fear spikes and opportunity is born, because we've seen the stock drop nearly 35% within 3 weeks, and this is exactly the point where the technology has been already validated in test connections. We've already seen that there's partnerships with carriers which give them real commercial potential. And obviously the company is pre-revenue and pre-scale, but not pre-speculative by any means. So we've seen volatile price swings. We've seen absolutely massive swings in general. And the crash conditions have amplified every single move that we've seen. But because nothing prices in an asymmetric upside like this market crash, ASTS is one of the few names where a single success could change the entire valuation overnight. And I think Monday will be a huge defining day for the company. And I think it is something to watch as we go into next week. Next stock on the list I got is the metals company, ticker symbol TMC. And this is kind of a contrarian play. It's not tech. It's not, well, I guess it kind of is tech. It has parts of tech. But instead of tech hype, this section is more grounded in like macro logic and what I think will continue to dominate in the next coming years. So when markets crash, investors kind of dump everything, including future critical materials like nickel, cobalt, and manganese. TMC owns rights to some of the largest deep sea metal deposits on Earth. And before you say anything, I know people are going to talk about the environmental risk, but if you do enough research, you'll realize that this is almost 10 to 20 times safer for the world, the ecosystem, everything than on land mining. And on land mining is done every day, and it has destroyed a lot of the world that we seek today. So the main thing is that these materials are fundamental for EV batteries, energy storage, and infrastructure. Not only this, we see them in grid stabilization, renewable infrastructure, and future manufacturing. If the world keeps moving into an electric future, the demand will continue to return, and we will see once this gets the approval by and more stuff coming in, we will see TMC report its earnings as well next week, which I think could set up for a huge push up, because the price has been crashing. There's the earnings coming up, and this seems like a perfect setup for a bounce off this. And because commodity cycles always turn, TMC's valuation is pricing near depth levels of pessimism that don't match the long-term outlook. And if you believe in the long-term outlook, even an ounce, then you will see that this is very undervalued at this level right now. So last on the list, we got Poet Technologies, ticker symbol Poet. We end a stock that I think most people that are watching this video probably don't even know about or talk about, but everyone could be talking about in the next 12 to 24 months if everything goes right. What Poet builds is basically advanced optical engines and photonic components, which are used in stuff that moves data inside AI data centers and makes it faster and more efficient. This is one of the main things that I think is very important, and it will continue to be used. The main thing we want to watch for in the next coming months is that this is still a very tiny company, which means that big moves will happen in recoveries, and partnerships and product launches are lining up perfectly, I think, for the company. And it has kind of stayed at this $5 to $6 range pretty much all year long. It's had bounces up to 9 and 10 even, but it's kind of just always recovered around here, and this is perfect opportunity, I think, to buy. As well as we've seen, the AI hardware cycle needs optical interconnects very badly, and that is exactly what Poet here focuses on. This is the kind of company that goes from very ignored to a 10x basically overnight when the sentiment turns. So because the crash hit small caps the hardest this last week, and Poet is one of the few with tech that actually solves real bottlenecks, I think it is not a bad buy on the market at this point. As well as they have a lot of stuff in the future coming out, as you could see here. If you'd like to pause, but they have a partnership with Mitsubishi, which is one of the main ones I want to point out, as well as the Foxconn interconnect technology, which is positioning it to become a key player in the market and see a lot of growth in the next coming years. So instead of ranking these, this is how I will frame them based on my personal opinion. So ACHR, it has the most solid long-term vision, and it is now very discounted. NVTS is most likely the winner from AI infrastructure expansion, and we've already seen it with their partnerships with NVIDIA and other companies that I think are coming very soon. ASTS, it's my biggest bet, but it has the highest upside, the highest risk, and it is very catalyst packed. And I think next year will be very big for the stock. TMC, very great on the contrarian macro bet. If you're believing that we're going to be using more electronics in the future, I think this is a must have in your portfolio, and it's something that's away from tech, but it still captures a lot of the stuff that we still invest in daily. Poet is a small cap with asymmetric potential, and I think I've made a video on it before, but I think it has a lot of potential from where it is now. And these obviously are not safe stocks. These are high risk, high reward names. This is not like investing in VTI. These are the exact kind of plays you buy in a crash if you understand the long game. And hopefully I've been able to explain at least a part of it for you guys today, or anything like that in a crash. But in conclusion, in a crash, everyone wants safety, but real wealth gets built by people who buy future winners at these panicked down prices. So I think ACHR, NVTS, ASTS, TMC, and Poet are all beaten down for reasons that make sense in the short term, but don't reflect the long term upside. When the market stabilizes, these are the names that can multiply tenfold. So if you guys like the video, make sure you guys drop a like. If you guys subscribe, it would mean a lot to me. And drop a comment with any stocks you guys want me to check out, or if you have any comments on this video. Thank you guys. Take care. Peace.